there, I'm Clifford Bates, and welcome once again to reading Machiavelli's Prince, where today we're looking at chapter 5 of the Prince, which deals, let's deal with the title, right? It says, right over there, it says, in what mode cities or principates must be administered, which before they were seized used to live by their own laws. So therefore, this is the question. This is the cities who are governed by their own laws. Um, Now, this is what to do with the questions of what to do with citizens who were not used to be governing. They were people not these were people who weren't used to being governed by a prince, right? It says so. This is the question of what happens when you take cities that used to be administered, which before they were seized, used to be by their own laws, right? So when a, when the acquired states, as has been said, are accustomed to living under their own laws and in liberty, they are, for those who want to hold them, three modes of proceeding. So therefore, these are what have their own laws and liberty, right? They've been living in liberty and under their own laws. First, to ruin them. In other words, to ruin them, destroy them. The other, to go there and live there personally. The third, to let them live under their own laws, levying tribute, and creating there a state of a few who will keep it friendly to you. Now, this is the second person. The you here is the second person familiar to you. Wink, wink, to you. So, three modes. One, ruin him. Second, go live there personally. And third, well, let them live under the laws, have them pay tribute to you, and but create a state there, or a few. In other words, put your guys in charge. Put people in charge of the state that are loyalty to you. In other words, don't let them control their own leaders. That you put in there, people are going to be loyal to you. Such a state, having been created by the prince, knows that it cannot stand without his friendship and power, and that it must do everything to maintain him. And one holds a city used to living in liberty more easily by means of its citizens than by other modes, if one wishes to preserve it. Now, this is interesting. The city is mentioned here for the first time. Okay, those cities. City is mentioned here. This doesn't mention city before. There were provinces of this, in connections with the question of liberty, in connection with being free, the city, civic entities, civil subject. It would seem that republics are especially cities, and that the modes and orders of liberty are found principally to exist in cities and not in huge amorphous political entities like these, empires. A city has a definite limited form, and this is perhaps what is necessary for the existence of liberty. In other words, it has a limited form. See chapter 9 below, where civil order is contrasted with an absolute one, right? Civil order versus an absolute one. The question raised at the end of the first paragraph has to do with whether one wishes to preserve the Constitution and the laws of a city or not. So that do you want to preserve the city, the Constitution of the city, or do you want to not preserve them? Okay. So the first paragraph is the question: what do you want to do? You want to preserve the Constitution, the laws of the Constitution of the city, or you don't want to preserve them? Right. That's the first question. You can preserve it by the citizens. So he's suggesting that the best way to hold a city together and in liberty is through the citizens. Okay. Hold a city used to living in liberty more easily by its citizens than any other mode. That's another one. But that's not a mode. In other words, 1, 2, and 3 is neither of those are that. Okay. So, okay. As examples, there are the Spartans and the Romans. Um, Again, the Spartans and the Romans are the examples. And what does he say about that? He goes, he has in Discourses 1, 2, 2 he has the distinction between the Spartans and the Romans, but I'm not going to go suggest reading that. In other words, the two examples are the Spartans and the Romans, two different things. The Spartans held Athens and Thebes by creating their state of a few. In other words, this is the oligarchies, right? They created oligarchies. Oligarchies, the regime of a few. In other words, the Spartans always created oligarchies, and the Athenians always created democracies, right? In other words, the Spartans held Athens and Thebes by creating their state, yet lost them again because the Thebes and Athens both would revert to. They'll at once eventually the democratic regimes will assert themselves again, and they would lose control of the oligarchs. The Romans, in order to hold Cupa, Carthage, and Numia, destroyed them, and they did not lose them. So the Spartan example was to set up oligarchies. Strategy number 3, right? The third strategy above, but they lost them. The Romans destroyed, not only ruined them, destroyed them, and they did not lose them. They wanted to hold Greece somewhat as the Spartans had, freeing them and leaving them to their own laws. And they did not succeed. In other words, they were going to do the way the Spartans did. They didn't. That didn't succeed. In such a mode, they were constrained to destroy many cities in that province in order to hold it. In other words, they would have to. In other words, 6, Corinth was completely destroyed by the Romans. Example, they would have to destroy, and same thing with Thebes. The Romans will destroy Thebes too. No, sorry. Alexander destroyed Thebes. Sorry. Alexander destroyed, not Alexander, but is it Alexander? Yeah, Alexander destroyed Thebes, not not the Romans. The Romans destroyed Carthage. So they will in other words, in such a mode, in order to destroyed many cities in that province to hold the province, hold Greece. Okay, so the Romans wanted to do it like Spartan, but eventually in Greece they even had to destroy them. For in truth, there is not any sure mode of possessing such cities, others than to ruin them. In other words, the colony way does not work. Going living there. In other words, but he says the truth. In truth, there is no sure mode of possessing, other than to ruin them. And whoever becomes the master of a city accustomed to living in liberty, and does not destroy it, he awaits to be destroyed by it. So the prince going to live there, they assassinate. Right? They wait to be destroyed by it. For it always has as a refuge in rebellion the name of liberty and its ancient orders, memories of its ancient orders, right? And which are never forgotten, either through length of time or through benefits, except if you just in other words, it hopes. In other words, he says that, but what happens if you wipe out their memory? In other words, you have to destroy it to forget their memory. Okay, as long as that their institutions are, their memories are there. And so the name of liberty and their ancient orders, which are never forgotten either through length of time or through benefits. And no matter what one does or provide for, if the inhabitants are not disunited or dispersed, they neither forget that name nor those orders. And immediately upon every accident, they resort to them as Pisa did 100 years after being placed in servitude under the Florentines. So in other words, the same thing happened in Poland. Poland was divided, partitioned. What happened during every time there was all these Polish rebellions to regain their independence. Anytime there was a moment, they failed, but they still rebelled. and the partition powers were never really surely secure in that sense. They always had to repress and keep down and maintain things, and they had to try to do things. The Russians dumped all their Jews. The Russians, when they dumped their, basically dumped their Jewish population to Russify this area, this part of the world, just to kind of control it. But still, the Russification process, they still rebel, right? They still ultimately would seek their rebellions. This is what Machiavelli is talking about here. That as long as they have their memories of those things, their memories of those things, they have attachment to them, they need to be totally dispersed. But when cities or provinces are used to living under a prince, so that but when a city is or a province is used to living under a prince, and that blood is extinguished, since they are on the one hand used to obedience and the other deprived of the old prince, they will not be able to agree on choosing someone from among themselves to rule, and they do not know how to live in liberty. And in this mode, they will be very late to take up arms, and a prince is able to win them over with more faculty, and assure himself of them. So therefore, there's two cities. There's the city the city is living under their own laws and like this, and they're living under liberty, and they're not used to living under a prince. Ooh, you gotta destroy them because everything else would not do this. But if a city is not living free, not under prince, as long as the blood of the prince is extinguished, right? They're not used to this. They don't know how to pick one of their own to be free. In other words, if they don't have the institutions of free liberty and self-governing, they're not going to know how to do it. They're not going to you have a hard time getting someone to obey, and that they don't have the ability to cooperate. And therefore they do not know how to live under liberty. In this mode, they will be very late to take up arms, and a prince is able to win himself, right? But in republics, there is greater life, greater hate, more desire for vengeance. The memory of the ancient liberty does not leave them, and can let them, nor can it let them rest. So the safest way is either to extinguish them or to live there. And this echoes there's two ways to deal with men: you caress them or you extinguish them, right? You caress them or extinguish them in the previous chapter, or a couple chapters earlier. Extinguish them or caress them. Here, same principle. You either go live there and you kind of caress their problems. But the problem is that he warns that, and their memory, their liberty, they love you doing them more favors won't make them forget their liberty, and that every time their want for their liberty will give any occasion that they may have a chance to rebel will rebel. So therefore, ironically, the logic here is it's the safest way is to do this, but really, given what he said about the previous paragraph, no, you can't be safe. Now the prince, they're used to be under princes. It's easy, but if they're used to being free, you have to destroy their freedom. You can't govern them. He's basically saying here. That's the logic of what that says. I mean, you could say go live there, caress them, but that's not going to work. Because what does he say? Look at here. He says, whoever becomes their master of a city, customer, living in liberty, and does not destroy it, waits to be destroyed by it. For it has refuge in rebellion in the name of liberty and the ancient orders, which are never forgotten, length of time, or through benefit. So the caressing is not going to save them when it comes to this. And as long as the inhabitants are not disunited or dispersed, they never forget that, and any accident happens, they will uprise, and that's the danger. So given the logic of go live there is not an option, given that thing. So if you're going to conquer a people, take it over, and they're used to living in freedom, you have to destroy their freedom in that sense. You have to destroy their ancient orders. You have to make them forget So you must destroy them. You must disperse them. You must do this. And you must follow the examples of the Romans. And the Romans, when they tried to be nice and give colonies or put regimes in there, right? Now we're forgetting the colony answer of the previous 2 chapters ago. No, it's ruined them here. So let's stop. This is where we're gonna. This is how we end this chapter. Please put your comments or questions in there, and once I see them, I will answer them and respond to them. Please, please like the chapter. Hit the like button. Hit the like button, please. The thumbs up. It helps the video. Helps the algorithm. If you also, if you like what you did here, please share it far and wide. Share it with your friends. Share it on your social media. But again, sharing this is always helps the algorithm. Both liking and sharing it really helps the algorithm. If you've not subscribed, I forget to keep on saying, people subscribe. Um, um, uh, 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 Subscribe to the channel. If you've not already done so, please do so. It helps the channel to grow. It helps the thing. We're at a certain number. If we can hit that number, it'd be great. I want to get the next number. I want to get to that magic number. We're near it, but we're getting slowly there. So that's it. If you didn't like it, if you all had some problems, if you came to this and you had some problems with something I said or you didn't like what I did, put the thumbs down and say why, but say why in the comments so people can learn from it. So there's some benefit from people of what's going on here. Because the purpose of this is that we're learning, right? And then what else? There is now, you want to follow me on social media, links below. If you want to know more about me as a scholar and as a researcher, check out the academic social media, links below. And if you want to help me to do what I'm doing here, these things do take time and therefore money in that sense. Please think about being a patron or benefactor in that sense. You can do so through the links below, and that is through Patreon or Subscribestar. Then another way you can help is to buy one of my books. The books are listed below. Available books are listed below. You can order them through your bookstore, your local bookstore, or an online sell like Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Libris or whatever, these different varieties near you, or through the publishers themselves. Well, that's it. I say hi. We'll continue next time to chapter 6, I think. Chapter 6 is our next chapter here. Yeah, chapter 6. Chapter 6. So take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.